Talk to me about this client and, the kind of the results and then your journey to where you are today.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm at Tontine now. A few years ago, when I was a baby SDR, they were using an outsourced for sales um, and also prospecting. So that is kind of how we connected. But that what they were spending a lot of money trying to outsource everything because it was a great product, and they just didn't have the funding or this um, the bandwidth to really manage a whole team, to build out a team. It's an investor, and so a lot of people that's where startups go to when they're trying to figure out things in the early stages. And so fast forward to building out a whole BDR team at another startup. They were outsourcing before as well. And I had to come in and completely build out the process, hire new people, and kind of do what I'm doing now, which is recover the lost profit and basically gain investors' trust to be able to turn around the company in a very short period of time.
And I want to go back. I want to sit on the didn't have the bandwidth comment for a minute. I hear this so many times. I mean, we run a sales outsourcing. We don't outsource the closing, but we outsource the prospecting, which I think is a little bit different. We can talk about the nuances of like why I would be for one and against the other. And again, it's always a time and a place. But when it comes to don't have the bandwidth, I hear this all the time and it drives me crazy because I have conversations with founders and I can tell they're like, this is the bottom like bottom of my to-do list. I don't really care about this. And the salesperson, is sitting there thinking, geez, your poor sales team, you don't give an F about them. And you're not even thinking about this and the process and about how you figure this out. Your path, your company's product's path to market is the single most important thing. And it feels like you're ticking a box of like, what janitorial tissues do we buy?
Mhm.
It feels like the bottom. And so I hate we don't have the bandwidth. Don't have the bandwidth for, closing my first customer's argument. Tell me about,
Right.
yeah, help me understand your side.
Yeah, I can't stand that either. And sales, that's your revenue. That's how you're going to stay afloat. You have to be on the ground and in the weeds yourself before you can hire anyone on to even outsource or not, like to even be able to train them and teach them about your product market fit, who you're talking to or anything. So not having the bandwidth and just, it's like passing off your company
Hmm.
to people who are half working on it and really not super experienced most of the time, or because outsource companies, depending on who you're using, are entry to mid level and working on several projects at a time. So it's just like kind of passing off your idea and the most important part of your company to someone else just because you really don't want to deal with it, or you feel like you may be above it, I would say.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. And I wonder if that's just like a hat that they put on so they don't have to say that I'm afraid, I'm afraid of figuring out this sales thing. It seems like a scary part of the business, and
Yeah.
the void of not making any, not being able to prospect, having to make cold calls, having to get on customer calls and get no's. Like it's not an easy thing, especially if you don't come from sales. Like I come from sales and still I stare off into the void, into the abyss of like the forecast. And I'm like, am I going to fucking hit this thing this month? Or are we going to eat it? And, there's more ups than downs, but like I've been doing this a long time and it's still terrifying at times.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is a part of it, and it just depends on the founder and their background. So, if they have a few companies they're running and they're kind of more in the funding investors, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They've done it before a couple times, and so they just want to sit in the background. they'll have a great product idea, develop the product, and then just kind of pass on to someone else and hope it works because they have the money. Or again, someone who's developed the product, loves their product, but doesn't have that sales background. And that's where the scary void comes in. But you got to take that leap. If you believe in your product, you have to sell it.